let's jump in with the South Park story. So back in 2019, HBO Max, which is now owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, signed a contract with Paramount for $500 million, saying that they would get exclusive rights to streaming South Park on HBO Max. Well, Paramount at the time asked if they could share streaming rights. HBO Max said, absolutely not, this is ours. And so it seems, as HBO Max, or I guess Warner Brothers Discovery, is now accusing Paramount, that they sort of used some verbal trickery in the contract to start calling episodes specials or movies or this and that, anything but an episode, so that they could withhold a lot of the content. So now they're embroiled in a lawsuit, and this is a major thing for streamers.
The funniest part about this is I'm pretty sure there's a South Park, again, classified maybe as like a series or a movie or whatever they classify it as, I think on the streaming wars. And there's this whole joke, and they use this analogy, a giant metaphor of a river, a stream, and everyone writes to use the stream. And it's really funny that this lawsuit is coming to be, given the fact that they've already, it's almost like the joke, like Simpsons have already done it, and South Park has already done it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely an interesting one, because I watched South Park, and there were these exclusive 3-part, I guess I can't call them an episode because there's legal implications to that, episode movies, what have you, that were exclusive to Paramount. I would love to see the definition section, if there is one. I would assume so. It's a multi-million dollar agreement, but I'd love to see the definition section to see what they define an episode as, what they define a movie, or what they define these other forms of the same South Park content.
Which, obviously will set whoever wins. It'll set a huge precedent moving forward. Now, what do you call a piece of content? Is it an episode? If you're licensing something, do you license everything in the canon of this, IP? Like, it'll definitely define things moving forward.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it goes to a lesson, right? When you are drafting these definitions provisions, it needs to, I guess you need to contemplate whatever it could be called, or whatever things could be considered.
Right.
Oh, it's not an episode. It's actually a movie. It's not a movie. It's actually a
special.
Clip. It's not a clip. It's actually a special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly a 3-part series.
Right.
3-part special.
Right.
So it's definitely an interesting one. I personally thought an episode was an episode, and maybe we're splitting hairs, but legally speaking, that's not the case. It's almost like the story of the comma changed the meaning of the contract.
Exactly.
Well, is it really an episode?
This is the Oxford comma of streaming, I guess. But this also kind of points to a larger issue that's hitting the streaming platforms now, which is Wall Street now wants them to make money. They've sort of hit their peak with audience growth. So now they need to start pinching dollars here and there. And so you have this fight between Paramount and Warner Brothers. But also, as the Hollywood Reporter was mentioning recently, a lot of platforms are starting to pull old content, like old shows, old movies from their streamers, because they don't want to have to pay the royalties anymore and save money that way to talent, to production companies that way.
Oh, absolutely. I saw it with HBO Max, where a number of older shows have been pulled that were fan favorites.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, right? If you're a fan favorite, I imagine that the royalty checks are larger and larger and larger. And I would also imagine that these fights over content are so important because everyone is taken to streaming. It's so fractionalized.
Yeah.
Our TV viewing experience,
yeah.
our content viewing experience. So any way you can to get a leg up on somebody, you're likely going to try. So, you could watch all of South Park on this one platform, but if you want to see the exclusive non-episodes, definitely not episodes, you should look over here. So that's it. We're in a content war. Who has the most content, the best original content, and why am I going to be watching on Paramount as opposed to Netflix, Hulu, what have you?
And eventually, you just know that eventually there's only going to be so many streamers, and they're going to start collapsing in on each other, acquisitions, whatever. So to have these fights between HBO Max and Paramount, then what happens if they merge in 5 years? Then what happens?
Well, it's going to be a really funny antitrust. I don't know. We're in the era of the antitrust. So But I mean, look, that was the implication, and you're nailing it, because think about the combo of Discovery Plus or Discovery and Warner Brothers, HBO Max. That whole merger is exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I fully expect, you're right, to see other smaller streaming services, channels, I don't even know what to call it anymore, combined with some of these larger giants.
Right.
And you're picking a fight with your parent company.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, we'll settle this lawsuit, but you're actually under our umbrella now.
Which
we're actually merging.
That'll be really fun, from a distance to watch. But that sounds like that's what's coming.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna, whether we like it or not, antitrust. Outside of antitrust, if that's not the implication here, or it's gonna go back to like old school TV where we had like 5 channels.
Yeah, they're reinventing TV.
We did it, guys. We did it.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out also on LinkedIn and Twitter to keep up to speed with what we're doing. Catch you on the next one.